What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? We're on another episode of Chiefs Focus Live. JP, Caleb, and Quentin. What's up, guys?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good. I'm lucky here.
Yeah, you're not, burning up in the desert sun yet.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on. We've been like 85, 88, 91, 92, 88, 85. The hottest day. We haven't even hit 100 yet. I mean, I've been here 11 years, and I've not yet seen that happen. We've always been in the hundreds by June 1st. It's just nice, man. Wind's nice and strong. We're getting rain. What the hell?
That's new. You normally don't get rain. The mountains eat all that up.
When I was in Las Vegas last year, it rained. And I was riding the city bus back to my hotel room from downtown Las Vegas, and it was raining. Now it rained for about 45 seconds.
Yeah, that's
and then when
normal
we
here.
got out of the bus, you couldn't tell because it had already, gone down the drains or into the sand. But I just of course, I'm over 21, having a good time, and it's gonna fucking rain while I'm in Las Vegas.
It's so weird here, dude. The average rainfall in Vegas is 4 inches a year.
Ooh.
We've gotten, since January, we've probably gotten almost 3 inches. So that's really unheard of. I mean, there's so many bugs here right now, you'd think you lived in Alabama. I mean, it's just bug-filled right now. It's insane. But it's nice. I mean, the weather's good. Our humidity's up. It's to 14% now. So that's for everybody else. They're probably laughing at me right now. But
it's pretty high, though, for Vegas, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's normally like between 3 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, But anyway, hey, man, we got a little bit to talk about. I know it's a little boring right now, but nice press conferences today, and I'll let Q kick that off real quick.
Okay, let's start on the offensive side of the ball for just a minute. I want to talk about what Patrick Mahomes said. He was asked about Rashee Rice, and he said that, when a lot of young guys come in and athletic guys come in, when they run their routes, they just run them really hard. They're just going out there running as fast as they can using just their athleticism. But Rashee Rice is running routes, actually running the routes, which is interesting to me because maybe I've been a little too harsh on him, even though he's not the person that people try and flame me for on the show. But I think
I just had to check my pulse.
If that's true, that he really is a crisp route runner, then I think that he could be more of an impact player, and I think I could be convinced that he will be more of an impact than Sky Moore heading into the season.
How you like that?
That changes too from yesterday. I mean,
yeah, I think my pulse just went up.
I was saying this, and I don't know if you guys remember saying this a while ago before the draft. The Chiefs are always going to get those receivers that are good route runners. Sky Moore was one, didn't have a huge jump, and now something like Rashee Rice, I see a pattern. They're always going to go for the guy who's a quote-unquote best route runner. And Rashee Rice is pretty good. I think he's going to tear up the field, can do a lot of different things. And I don't know if he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver like Phillip's been preaching and banging down the door in the chat. He's not on, but he'll probably be on soon. But I really believe when you look at the end of the day, Rashee Rice might turn some heads and might be the silver draft where everyone's like, why did you guys let the Chiefs get Rashee Rice? Like, why?
Yeah. And I got to tell you, man, everybody, I've seen a lot of 4 or 5 plays from Justyn Ross, and man, he doesn't even look like he was ever injured. He looks so good, dude.
Is this the day we're going to see Quentin walk back all his takes?
I'm just telling you, he looks really good. What's up, Thiz? What's up, Scott? We got them both on. We don't know who else is on because we ain't had no comments yet, but there's a bunch of people on here. I'm just saying, he looks really good. He doesn't look like he was injured, and that's phenomenal. He said this that I originally didn't like the what do you say? I really didn't like the Rice draft pick originally. I was pretty happy with it. I mean, I was kind of hoping they were going a different direction, but now that I look at what he can do, and I know, everybody complained about drops and this and that and the other, but man, that's all can be fixed. This dude looks like he's going to be a beast. I mean, he's Scott said hell hasn't frozen over Caleb.
That's fine. That's fine.
Brad said just here for the popcorn. What's up, Brad?
You know,
Quinn's getting a lot of loyalty.
the Rice pick, I was sort of agnostic to it because, to be quite honest, he wasn't one of the guys that I had been looking into. I will say I was happy that they didn't draft a receiver in the first round, and I believe I expressed that multiple times after they did that, because I didn't think there was a first round wide receiver really in the draft. I know a bunch went beforehand, and like the Chargers picked a wide receiver in the first round, which I was like, go ahead. I mean, it's not worth a first round pick. So when the Chiefs pick a wide receiver in the second round, I didn't have a problem with it. I was kind of surprised because I thought they were going to go offensive line because they went defensive end in the first round. So I thought they were going to get a wide receiver in the third round, but I have no problem with the Rashee Rice pick. I just think that, the getting into an Andy Reid offense, we talk so much about how complicated this offense is and that he basically carries around a Bible, how thick his playbook is. And so I just want to pump the brakes when we get a wide receiver in here, especially a rookie, about how impactful they're going to be. There are only 2 rookie wide receivers to be significant players in terms of actual yardage in an Andy Reid system, and they are Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin. So I will say, though, when you hear Patrick Mahomes, a lot of the times he'll just use like buzzwords, like every quarterback or every person ever that does a press conference over and over again. But to hear him specifically call out his route running makes me intrigued, and I'm going to pay closer attention to him, especially when training camp rolls around.
What is your stat update for him?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Well, if he's going to be better than Sky Moore, then I think he'll be 400 yards, right? If I think that might be where Sky Moore ends up. So if he's more, right around that 400 yard mark, if he's close to Sky Moore, I think that's a big indicator on what Rashee Rice is.
Okay.
This could be the year, Quentin. If you think about it, take D-Hop out of the equation because just forget about that.
Yeah,
I absolutely 100% believe he's going to Cleveland now. After Caleb said that, then after last night's show, I actually called a couple people and they said the same thing. They think he's going to Cleveland. So
is it money? I'm guessing
it's money and the fact that he's got a connection with Watson. He's got another great wide receiver on the other side, and they want to win that division. And hey, man, let Cincinnati have that headache. You know what? If that's what happens, great it's great.
It is what it is.
A bunch of times anyway. I think
if the AFC North and AFC East could just beat the shit out of each other, and what ends up happening is that all these good teams end up with mediocre records or below what they probably should have records because they all go 1-1 against each other all year. That's fine by me because I can cruise through the AFC West and I can end with the number 1 seed again. So
exactly.
Go to Cleveland, please.
Well, let's talk about this really quick. All I was getting at is that I think this could be the season because you've got guys that have rolled over from last year that now have really learned the playbook. When you're looking at like Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, even Watson for that matter, but you got guys that are rolling over. Then you bring in these new guys that are extremely talented that are picking the playbook up and they're getting high praise. Don't be surprised if this isn't the year that Mahomes breaks the passing yard record. I'm just saying. 5,500 by Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So I'm just
yeah. Was that at 15?
14 or 15. Was it 14 or 15? I can't remember. One of those two.
I think it was 14.
Yeah, I think it was 14. But regardless, he did it, and I think this could be the year that Mahomes breaks that record because he's got all the tangibles. They fixed the offensive line, so that's going to give him more time. He's got everything there. And I think if everything plays out the way from what I've seen on film and then also what everybody's talking about, this could be the year he hits almost 6,000 yards. So I'm just saying it's not unfathomable at all that this could happen. I don't know. But there was a little bit of talk really quick. I want to get into this because it's funny as hell. There was a thread going on our page somehow about the Chargers and how they had all the weapons to be, AFC champs. Somebody brought it up, and apparently this guy was a Chiefs fan, which was weird to me. But he said, they've never had as a complete team as they have right now. And I actually asked him, I said, how old are you? Because if you go back to 2004 through about 2011, they had one of the most complete football teams in football. They had some of the best weapons in football and a great defense, and they still couldn't get over the hump. It's not all about the players. It's about the staff. And if their staff and their organization isn't cutting it, I don't know what to tell them. What's this here? He says, maybe Chiefs Focus needs to start a watch campaign for Mahomes 5,000 yards. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that for sure. Scott, let's see. So I see more of a running game because of the defense is going to be so damn good. Could be. I mean, the one thing we can count on is more than likely McKinnon's going to be catching the balls. He's not going to be running as much. He's going to be blocking a little bit, probably especially at the beginning of the season. Let these guys get acclimated, the new guys on the offensive line. But I don't know, man. I see Pacheco get the ball a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it's still not. It's still going to be 85-15, passing versus.
Well,
running.
I'm interested to see what that Pierce guy from UAB, what he's going to do. I think they didn't bring him in for no reason. I think he might be able to kind of solidify and help a little bit and do part of the run-in pass game too. Take some of the load off of McKinnon.
Yeah,
and don't forget about Dendrick.
Yep.
Prince.
Yeah, Prince.
I think that he's an undrafted free agent, and I think he has a real chance to make the roster. I think that he's a very he's a very heavy run guy. I don't think he had a ton of experience coming out of Tulsa, catching the ball out of the backfield, which also means he doesn't have a ton of experience pass blocking. But I do think that he could be a guy that, if we're talking about undrafted free agents making the roster, I think he's one of the guys that you need to give serious consideration to it. And to me, he's the most likely undrafted free agent to make a roster.
Yeah, I agree. We'll go ahead and finish up with the press conference now.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't have anything that came out of the offensive coordinator. He didn't really give us anything, but man, he's just so happy. You could tell, I mean, he's already an upbeat guy, but man, he feels good to be back,
Yeah. He's happy to be back with his buddy Andy and his, and Mahomes. I mean, he's happy to be on a team that's a winning organization, a good culture, and he brings a lot of energy to that team. Not just the offense, but the entire team. He's like Andy is in a lot of ways. Andy is good with everybody, and Mahomes is good with everybody. He fires everybody up on all three sides of the ball. And I think we're seeing the same thing with Nagy. He's a guru when it comes to drawing up plays. You get him and Andy together, holy crap, that's dangerous.
They're going to scare teams.
Yeah, I mean, and I know that's why people are saying what they're saying right now about Matt Nagy coming back and. He's not going to be that great. He may be average. Why did he leave? Blah, blah, blah. Why couldn't he do it with Alex Smith? Well, look, man, it's two different quarterbacks. You guys, whoever's saying that crap, we see it in group chats all the time. We see this, we see that. Man, they're two different quarterbacks, and you do what you can with the quarterback that you have. You know their limitations. You know where he pushed Alex Smith further than anybody ever had in his 13 years, up until the point when he left us. So, I have a lot of faith in Nagy, and I think it's going to work out really well for us this year. So, anyway.
Yeah, so the there was so much that Spagnuolo gave us on the defense, and I think that's where I'm going to spend a lot of my time, because a lot of my quotes are just sort of things that came out from the press conference, which actually came out of Matt Nagy. So I'm going to transfer over to the defense. The first one that I want to talk to is a pretty quick remark that he said. He says that Felix reminds him of Colin Saunders. What do you guys think about that?
I'm fine with that. What about you, Caleb?
I feel like he's a huge upgrade. I think he can get to the quarterback a lot quicker. I mean, there were two different positions. The defensive end was D tackle. I mean, there was some mixing and matching. I see it a little bit. I believe, though, we're going to see with Felix more sacks. Saunders was the guy that was pulling up the holes. Now, he did kind of step up at a certain part. I see a little bit, but not personally, because I feel like at the end of his career with Kansas City, or how long that is, Felix will have better numbers overall. That's what I feel personally.
I'm wondering if he's not more or less talking about his football IQ and the fact that he's able to read offenses and read the run and read. I mean, they're built differently, but I'm not going to complain about it if he's an upgrade to Colin Saunders.
And that's what I was saying. Like, well, if I'm for sure he's an upgrade from at this point. Just kind of seeing
athletically, he probably is. Although Colin Saunders is probably the only guy on the planet his size that can do backflips and front flips.
That is true.
So,
I'm sorry. Brad corrected me. He was talking about Condre Colburn.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He said that he reminded him of Colin Saunders.
Well, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
That makes a little more sense.
I read the wrong note there.
Yeah, that's okay.
But to me, that's we're talking about another just super athlete on the defensive line, specifically at that tackle spot, right? It's another guy where if you look at him, you wouldn't think that he's super athletic. I mean, he's a 320 pound or 330 pound man that can just blow through the line. He talked about how sometimes at this time of year in OTAs, it's difficult to really say how much of an impact, that player would have on during game day, just because you're not finishing the play, right? You're breaking through the offensive line and then you're stopping because, you can't even breathe on the quarterback. So it's hard to say, how good is he going to look in game because he's a rookie and you're not allowed to really finish plays. But the fact that you're throwing that out there, means a lot because we continue to talk about on this show. I wanted to bring Saunders back because of his athleticism, and to bring in another guy that you feel comfortable saying that that's what he looks like tells me that the Chiefs feel very comfortable about the guys they brought.
Well, that's good. And I think with Colburn, I think we see a little flashes of Saunders. I agree with that. I think he might be able to get help with the sack total and be more consistent. Now I know Saunders first would. Year 1 was fine, but year 2 and 3, he was hurt a bunch. Elbow injuries, knee injuries, things like that. But I can see Colburn kind of taking that leap, kind of where Saunders is at, and just upping it a little bit more. I can see that. That's a good pick by him.
Let's go into a circle here. We finished up 11th overall, and I want to hear from the fans too. Do you see them coming in between 5th and 10th overall this year?
And what?
Defense.
I mean, like points per game, yards allowed, like
5th overall.
Okay.
We were 11th overall last year with 7 rookies on defense. Well, I'm sorry, 6 rookies on defense.
5th is
now these rookies are actually 5. A year better now.
I know.
Can you say top 5 to top 10 somewhere in that mix? I mean, they have to get better.
Yeah. I think top 10, 8, 9. I think is a reasonable jumping point. But top 5, I mean, that's just so. That's a damn good defense, and I just don't know if you can be out there. Plus, the thing that you also got to keep in mind is Kansas City's playing a first-team offense in a packed AFC, and so there are going to be other teams that are going to put up better stats, less points given up, and that sort of thing, just because they don't have as hard of a schedule. And so they're going to, ease into. They're going to have easier games, and those sort of things, and those sort of stats when they talk about top whatever, they don't include strength of schedule. So it's just hard for me to say that this is going to be a number 3 or 4 defense when you just talk about that. With all of that being said, I do think that this is going to be a better defense, and the next quote that I'm going to bring up will expand on that idea.
Okay, what do you think, Caleb?
I do agree with that. They have a chance to be a top 10 defense. I also will take one step first and they have a chance to be a top 10 offense. But a lot has to go their way and a lot of mistake-free football has to be played, which with Andy Reid team, there's going to be some ups and some downs. But I am hopeful, at least from the offensive side of the ball, they're going to do their thing. There are going to be some games where they struggle. But from the defensive side of the ball, it is promising, though, to see last year they came a huge step of the way. Normally in the past, we see that the Chiefs, when they play, the first 8 weeks is a struggle. They got that down within the first 4. So I feel like this time around, it may be in half that, maybe the first 2 to 3 weeks. So I think this defense has a very, very, very good shot of doing something that no other team in NFL history has been able to do.
Well, as far as the offense is concerned, we were second overall last year, first in points, and second overall, right?
That sounds all right. I think they're top 5 in pretty much almost every category besides the run game.
Yeah. So I could see them easily with the upgrades. I can see them being top 3 in offense overall. I mean, with Mahomes, he's going to be number 1, period, no matter who he's got out on the field. So the defense, I can see this.
I'm not concerned with the offense unless something crazy happens. I think they're going to be fine.
Well, you figure you got Snead coming back for a year, right, as of now. You know you got CJ coming back. If they bring Frank Clark back, which I'm still hearing they're going to right before training camp, or maybe right into training camp, they bring him back. Then if for some reason they decide they want to bring back Carlos Dunlap and he wants to play for another ring, dude, we're solidified.
There's some good pieces that can help.
This defense is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring Frank back, we're easily a top 7 defense overall if they bring Frank back. So that secondary is insane right now. I mean, that was crazy.
We call that a solid transition because the thing that he talked about a lot, he said the defensive backs are light years ahead from where they were last year, and that they had constant communication when they were on the field. Perfect. He not only talked about Trent and L'Jarius Sneed, he also talked about Justyn Reed and how he has been a part of this too. So, the safeties and the corners are getting better, and it's just knowing that they're able to, move around and are able to make the calls. It was so frustrating 2 years ago when you had a defensive backfield that I felt like half the time their arms were in the air because they just didn't know what they were doing and they were putting blame on other people.
There was a lot of arguments going on.
It was it started to turn into a toxic work environment. Yeah. And to see that now, with a bunch of new guys in, with the rookies we brought in this year, the guys that we brought in last year, and I know, Justyn Reed wasn't a rookie, but he was new to this defense. So for them to now be light years ahead and to be able to communicate, talk about everything, I think that's going to make it easier for these new guys that are coming in because, now these guys can help out Nick Jones, for example. So that to me is great news heading into OTAs and eventually at some point the training camp. And man, you want to talk about a way to improve this defense, shut down the passing game.
Yes.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Scott says as long as we stay aggressive on D, hell yeah, top 5. The one thing you got to remember, man, is that we don't have Madison anymore. And we brought in a great secondary coach, and we also have a great defensive line coach in Joe Cullen. And he's pretty damn aggressive. I think he's kind of taken over that. He's gotten rid of that bend, don't break mentality that Spags had. That was Sutton's motto, but Spags kind of had that a little bit.
It was a little rough there for a little bit. When you do 3rd and 15 and let Jamar Chase just run over the top with no safety help. Yeah. Yes, because Quentin shakes his head. I think it's time to move on from that painful memory.
That was a painful memory.
Quentin, you were lucky you weren't doing the show with us at that time because we had a field day with that.
Yeah, that was rough.
Both times.
Yeah, that was just – we couldn't figure it out. It's like, what the hell is going on? Where's the safety? Why is Ward out there by himself? And then they put – remember Fenton got burnt too.
I mean, Fenton's not bad, but come on. In the AC Championship game, Fenton versus Jamar Chase, Fenton was getting turned around all season. Whatever. I mean, we got guys like Phil has Chamari Connor in the slot, Mike Evers replacing Thornhill, Means, Snead, and McDuffie. On the outside, more picks. This defense is a lot more faster, and they're a lot more better overall, aside from picking stuff up, and not against players like Fenton. But there's a reason why they traded to him at the deadline. For a 6th-round pick? They got like a 6th or 7th-round pick in return.
6th or 7th, a bag of chips and a Diet Coke. They didn't get much.
Basically, he did what he could do, but it came to a point where what the Chiefs wanted him, he wasn't just going to get to that level because there were just so many issues, so many problems over and over and over and over again. And it's good though that Chiefs sort of bring all these other guys who's like, oh yeah, they're light years ahead of him and many others. So it's a
Did
good
Fenton
spot
end
they're
up?
in.
Did he get cut? Is he a free agent right now, or is he playing for somebody?
No, I
He's
believe
Falcons.
as far as I know, he got traded to the Falcons for a conditional 7th round pick. So,
And he's
which
still
is,
there.
yeah, as far as I know, he's still on their roster.
Yeah, he was the one that screwed us on the compensatory pick, by the way, because we should have had one more pick because of that trade, but we didn't get it because of him.
What do you mean? I'm confused. What did he like?
Because the way
games?
I think it was the trade capital. I'm not really sure, but they said that we should have gotten another one for him, but we didn't because of what he traded for. And Fenton's with the Cardinals now. Philip just said so. So
He's
there you
on
go.
the tanking Cardinals. Congratulations.
Yep, there you go. So we would have had 11 draft picks if it wasn't for him. By the way,
well, it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, honestly, when you're at 10 and you've got a roster that's already great, you only got so many roster spots. So you're going to pick a bunch of guys that are going to end up going to you want to keep really badly, and then they're going to end up going to another team, and that's going to piss you off. You know, you only got
that's why they
in
got
practice squad.
Chamari Connor because there's a chance he may not be here next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're always drafting a year ahead. Willie Gay may not be here, but they drafted Leo Chanel. I mean, he was there for the taking. I think Veach was surprised he was at that point. There's a reason why they're making certain moves in certain areas. Either going to go a year ahead, they're going to replace, or 2 years ahead. So,
well, given the fact, I like, everybody keeps bringing up Willie Gay. That is not a high-paying position, for the most part. I'm hoping
I can see a team throwing the bag at him, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They may. I mean, a bag compared to for the position, it may be a bag, but I don't know. Man, he may play for less. He likes Kansas City.
He might.
I don't know if you get an opportunity, especially a guy like him, where you haven't made a ton of money now, and let's say a defense that's trying to rebuild and wants and throws $7-8 million at him. Like, yeah, in retrospect, that's not a ton of money, but when you need to divide out that money on the rest of a roster, and you're paying your quarterback, what you are, that's just those are the kind of moves that you have to cut. So I think he's like Juan Thornhill. It's like you're a good player, but unfortunately, these are the kind of guys that we have to move on from, and it's why hitting on these draft picks is so important.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And also you got everybody out there has to remember the Chiefs are right now. We have the most restructurable money in the NFL. We can restructure right now. If we restructured everything, we'd have $83 million in cap space. So if that's what he wanted to do and just lose his mind and sign a bunch of players right now, he could do it. It just is what it is. So, you can bonus structure a couple guys, restructure a few, and you got $83 million sitting there on the board. So, and that's why, if anybody remembers, we talked about this last year. The Chiefs, if at the restructure point, we knew they were at least at $66 million, and they only restructured Mahomes. If you really think about it, so, and it wasn't for a ton of money. It was a little bit of money, but it wasn't a lot. So it's not like they went crazy on the restructure this year already. So they could potentially, if they wanted to, they could really bring on whoever they wanted to at this point. Not that they're going to. They've got a really solid roster. For everybody out there, making sure you don't have D-Hop in your mind because he's not coming to Kansas City.
There's a chance.
There's always a chance.
Did you guys know he actually was down in North Kansas City? Did you guys know that?
Was he at the Five Guys?
He was at the Five Guys in North Kansas City. Then he went to Northtown and was running around the field just saying.
And then he was hanging out at Gates Barbecue like 10 minutes later. It was crazy.
And he's probably down the plaza looking at a nice house, a condo or something. So there's something out there. For those who don't know, whenever there's a high-profile free agent, people like to make jokes. You see the same pictures trending where there's one of Brett Veach and a Five Guys eating alone, and someone took a picture of him. Someone always crops Veach's head out, puts Hopkins or anyone else's head over it. So it's just kind of a fun joke. So you never know. You might see him anywhere. You might see him somewhere. So.
Hey, you never know. I mean, he may be at Gates one day just eating, and then somebody will flip out. We've heard that. I mean, who was it? They said they saw him on 34th. Saw a player last year on 34th and Troost.
I don't remember that.
I can't remember who it was, but they said, "Oh, we saw somebody on 34th." Oh, it might have been OBJ. They said we got OBJ on 34th and Troost, and come on, man.
They're just making stuff. I think I did see
yeah.
something one
I
time
don't know
where
if
they
I
were
want
like,
to hang out on 34th and Truce. That does sound like a lot of fun.
well, I
It's
think
not.
someone one time was saying that people were actually like driving around looking for him because they were that gullible, but I can't confirm that.
Jeez.
But nothing would surprise me. People think Twitter is the word, I guess. So I don't know. You got anything else in that press conference?
Yeah, I
Tony?
do. I've got a couple more here. I'm going to stay in the backfield. Nick Jones is officially listed as a defensive back.
Okay.
And today, Spagnuolo talked about how he was playing as a nickel corner. He was playing in the nickel and was productive there. So, I think that, we talk about how Kansas City loves flexible guys and guys that don't really have one position. If we can get productive nickel play from Nick Jones and allow guys like Snead and McDuffie to play on the outside, especially when we have if we're going up against a team with two really good wide receivers and they're playing their guys on the outside, throwing McDuffie and Snead on the outside and then having Jones play on a tight end or a lesser wide receiver, I think opens up the opportunity to limit some of the damage that can be done by top or elite wide receivers. So it's just interesting to hear that him playing as a nickel corner can provide some more flexibility to this defense.
I agree.
Okay.
What do you think, Caleb?
I mean, I like it. I mean, Quinn is right. I mean, the guy's flexible. If you look at anything, the defense as a whole. One of the reasons why they took guys like Nadi because he could play all areas of the defensive line. Same thing when it came to the safety and cornerback position. Snead can play safety in college. He plays safety and also play quarterback. So the cornerback. So they like it when guys can play multiple positions. It only makes it better for the team in order to help fix issues. I mean, we see players like Snead get knocked out, getting concussion. You guys see guys like Justyn Ross get hurt. Stuff like that's going to happen. So you need these guys to jump in. And for someone like Nick Jones, 7th-round pick, to say he could possibly help out in the slot. Sorry, did you say the dime package? Correct?
He's in the nickel spot.
Sorry, the nickel spot. I mean, that's important because if you can find guys that can work in those different positions for the cheap, it's just going to make everything better for this team to continue rolling through and do what they're supposed to do.
Especially because base defenses are becoming less and less, right? As teams run the ball less and look to pass on 1st and 10 more and more, your base defense almost becomes your nickel defense, where you're throwing an extra defensive back out there instead of an extra linebacker. So if you can find quality defensive backs, corners or safeties that can play that nickel spot, and somebody's bound to get injured. So if you have a guy that you're comfortable with putting there, once again, it opens up flexibility, adds depth. This is the kind of thing you want to see with your rookies coming out, especially on a complicated defense.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, last thing here on the defensive backs, and then we'll move on to the defensive line here for one more thing. So he said that both Trent and L'Jarius Sneed played on the inside, but C. Spagnuolo was looking for someone else to come out and to show out. So what I found interesting about that, we know L'Jarius Sneed can play on the inside. We know he can cover that slot guy. Interesting to hear that they had Trent McDuffie covering the guy in the slot.
That is pretty interesting.
That makes me think that one of the guys that they have could possibly play on the outside in the event McDuffie either gets hurt or they need to put him on the inside. I don't know who it is maybe specifically. I know Tramari Connor is kind of more of the slot guy, but I think he can also play outside because he did play safety in college. I don't know. That's very interesting to see. Again, I think they're just kind of mixing and matching and trying to figure out what packages work in certain situations, getting more well-versed with the different positions. That's what I feel personally.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're just, they're moving people around. They're finding their niche. And they're going to see where they fit the best. And that's the one great thing about our team is that they find fitment. And that's what I think that's what keeps us where we're at every year in, year out, is that we find the people that fit in the positions. And if they, and versatile players, guys that are, that can play 3 different positions and play them well. We have that. We have that in Snead. We have that in a lot of players. Just in general, we have that. So,
well, you got to. Yeah, that's how teams survive. I mean, if looking back at what game was it? Was it the Jaguars game that Snead got hurt, or I'm thinking a year prior? One of the years Snead got hurt. and they had someone to come in for him. And luckily, the guy performed well. And I believe the reason why is because they knew he could play well that position. He was more well versed. And it could
That
have
was
been a
this
whole.
past season, wasn't it?
I think it was one of the playoff games, so it had to be the Jaguars then. If
Yeah, it was.
I'm
I think it was the
correct.
Jaguars game.
So, I mean, you just need well versed guys. You have to. That's your plan B or plan C or maybe a plan D or E or F because you never know what's going to happen. It's a violent game. People get hurt. A lot of stuff can happen. A lot of stuff can change.
Yeah, the Rams, part of the problems that they had is they were going by this stars and scrubs mentality where you've got, 4 or 5 stars, couple on your offense, couple on your defense, and then it's just get a bunch of guys and we'll figure it out. And then we saw this year what happened was their stars got hurt. They lost their quarterback, wide receiver, best defensive lineman, and they sucked. So when you go to that stars and scrub mentality, you open yourself up to losing those guys with injury. And what Kansas City does, some people would say that Kansas City also goes by that stars and scrubs mentality. But the fact is that Kansas City, they're quote unquote scrubs. Are guys that are athletic and can play around the field. And so they're just more valuable. Okay. They're not stuck in this rigid spot where it's like, okay, you're a corner, you have to play corner. Instead, they go out and get guys that played corner and safety in high school. Or in college. So they're not scrubs. They're quality players that can play all around the field and can be productive in any situation. And so I think that comes from their ability to draft well. Scouting is a huge part of that, but also coaching and knowing that the guys you're bringing in can be molded into what you want.
And I don't mean to backtrack a little bit. I think that falls on the offensive side of the ball, specifically the wide receivers. If they're saying if Mahomes is saying Rice is able to do this, then that's showing he can run a lot of different routes in the route tree, put the X, the Y, or the Z. So I think this is just a whole organizational thing as a whole, where Beach is like, we need to find guys that can play multiple positions in different areas. You can't just get a Des Bryant that's just going to run the X.
Yeah,
I mean that's the biggest thing. Yeah, and that's what they're coming out of college like now. So
you have to be versatile. You have to be multifaceted. And if you're not, the likelihood of you being on like a Super Bowl contender is not really high, depending on what all the cards and stuff that happen and fall into place.
I agree.
Yeah, the organization mentality is there of being able to find players that can do multiple things and not just be able to do them, but do them well. And looking for guys that even if they don't have a ton of experience doing that, but just that little ray of sunshine that it's like, well, I think he's done it. I think he continued to do it. And then trusting your coaches, whether it's your coordinators or your special coaches, your position coaches, to be able to get those guys to do what you need them to do. I think it is an organizational mentality. And it's the reason why Kansas City continues to keep their Super Bowl window open. It's not just because of Patrick Mahomes. It's not just because of Andy Reid. It's because you can get some guys in here like a Trent McDuffie in his first year and to be a quality corner, or to get a L'Jarius Sneed in the 5th round and have him be arguably your most important defensive back on a defense that for the past years has seen some of its struggles. So it's a organizational mentality that continues to prove successful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we went from, if any, people, I'm sure they remember, I think 2018 we were 31st overall. 2019 we went to the Super Bowl 27th overall. 2020 we were 23rd overall. 21 I think we were 17th overall, and in 22 we went to 11th overall. That's just progression, but a lot of that has to do with the coaching. I mean, it just does. Sam Madison was terrible. He was just terrible. He
wasn't. It's part of that was on Spags too.
It was because Spags
allowed him. Spags letting things happen as a coordinator.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, you're 100% right.
But
when you allow somebody to do things without fact checking them or checking them at all, that's on you. But that's why
he's realized that now, and why there are more resurgences happen overall. So
absolutely. But anyway, what else you got, Quentin?
Okay, the B.J. Thompson. He specifically called out B.J. Thompson and said that he did some really good things and he stuck out today. He didn't go into detail about the play that he made, but look, you're talking about a 5th-round draft pick. When he was drafted on the show afterwards, we talked about how this guy is a raw talent. He was a guy, he comes from Austin State, small school, big dude, 6'6", 240. doesn't have a ton of different, like, diverse moves, but you see the talent there. And so for Spagnuolo to come out and say, we were right. It's a very raw talent. Let's see what we can do. I think shows that if he can get to a point where he just doesn't have to depend on one move and he can diversify a little bit, man, it's going to be exciting.
And I think he's one of those guys that could possibly sneak in to get 3 to 4 sacks possibly this season. I mean, come from he's an athlete, obviously, but obviously he's going to need to upgrade his moves. But you have guys like a Frank Clark who probably will sign back, but a Chris Jones, many other individuals, a Karlaftis, that no different pass rush moves. And Hali has been around the organization. He's probably going to teach him a thing or two as well. So for a guy with that much raw talent, I really feel like someone like him is going to shock a lot of people seeing what he's going to be able to do. I think he has the opportunity to do more than who's that edge rusher we have out of Michigan? Not Frank Clark. It's the other guy. He starts hot at the beginning of the season. He kind of fizzles out a little bit.
Mike Dana?
Yeah, Mike. I feel like he has a chance to probably exceed a little bit more what Mike Dana's been doing. But I think this rotation as a whole is looking great, brighter and better every single season.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Tomba really quick because he was not feeling too great the last few days, and I talked to him a little bit. He was going through some pain. Sucks when you're an athlete and you have to go through this, but it's a very strange thing. Women and athletes go through this, and it's because of the shoes that you wear. And he was going through some foot pain that was unbearable for a man that goes through, put his body through hell for, many years. But he's doing better now, thank God, and he's back on the mend. So, but he was in a lot of pain, and I'm just glad he's feeling better now. It sucks that he's going to have to go through that. I mean, he just turned 40 years old, and he's going to feel that for a while now. So. But anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Tomba because he's a good dude, and I'm hoping I'm glad he's feeling better. What Brad say here?
He brought up Charles Omenihu, which is funny because he's right. Like, we're talking about some of these young guys that we don't even know, and yet we've got this guy that played in arguably, one of the best defenses over the last 3 seasons, and now he's in Kansas City. And it's weird because I've seen him talked about as a defensive tackle. I've seen him talked about as defensive end. He played both while he was in the 49ers system. When he first got here, I thought of him more as a defensive tackle, but it seems more and more he's becoming a defensive end in this system. So once again, we've got a guy who's flexible, and he's a proven talent. I can't believe Kansas City was able to snag him. Because, we're talking about a 25-year-old that, has proven that he's a quality player in here. But, he's right. Charles Omenihu, on top of all these guys, I think this defensive line, if it hits the ground running, we might be talking about one of the better defensive lines in the NFL.
Yeah, if not the best defensive line in the NFL, especially with the record or the schedule that we have right now. Philip's got something up here. He says Thompson will develop his craft to be a quality addition to this defense. Reminds me of Leonard Floyd, Rams, Bears. Oh, yeah, Leonard Floyd. I actually forgot about him. Man, he's a good ball player. I like the way they're – if you look at the San Francisco 49ers and how their defense has been over the past, 5 years, 6 years? It's top 2 all the time. We're bringing guys in that like Unaminihu that was from that system. And if you're going to bring somebody in from that system, you're doing something right. I'm sorry, but you are. We're kind of mimicking what they do on the defensive side of the ball. Now, offensively, of course, it's a different ball game. Yeah, you can look good in Andy Reid's system, but you can't be great unless you're great. But I think what we're doing defensively is going to put us, especially on the defensive line, we are probably going to have the top defensive line in the league. And with our schedule, you can't say that, strength of schedule has anything to do with it because we got a pretty damn tough schedule this year. So I don't know if anybody's looked at that, but it's rough. Brad said bringing Colin in was gigantic. Absolutely. Yeah. One of the best things they could have ever done. The guy's aggressive, honestly, if Spags decides to retire, you're looking at the next defensive coordinator. So just is what it is. But anyway, what else you got, Quentin?
Those are all the quotes that I think really stuck out to me. It's great to see the fact that the defensive backs, once again, it's a pretty young crew, and I think as long as the same system is in place, I think Kansas City's continue to have a young defensive backfield. You've got your one leader, whoever that may be. The last 2 times it's been safeties that Kansas City has depended on, but it's going to continue to be young. The cornerback room will probably always be one of the youngest in the NFL, and to continue to see guys, at least on paper, continue to develop, get better, know what they're doing, that's impressive and exciting, because we know that Spags also has a very complicated system. And then the defensive line, man, it's so frustrating when you almost get to the quarterback and you don't, or when a quarterback sits back there for 7 seconds. No, I don't care who you have. You could have four Deion Sanders back there. They're not covering guys for 7 seconds. That's not happening. Not with today's rules. Not with the advantages the offensive have, with the pick plays that they can run, and just all of that. So you have to be able to get to the quarterback, and you also have to be able to lock down the run game, and that means big guys and big athletes. Mm-hmm. So for Kansas City to continue to invest in there and bring in free agents to put draft assets in there, and obviously they haven't played a game yet, but at least going forward, for the information that we have, I don't see how any Chiefs fan could not be excited about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what we see, if they just not rebuild, they reloaded at key positions. They reloaded. That's what you need. If you don't reload, what are you going to do? And the Chiefs, you could say in certain instances, have gotten better, it looks like, at certain positions that have been considered to be struggles in need, and have either or upgraded those positions. So I'm all happy for everything.
And I agree with Brad here. Drew Tranquil is going to be another one. Man, he's that kid.
A rover, safety, a linebacker, or safety hybrid. I mean, that's kind of what the game has gone to. And when you look at it, I mean, there's one player I believe the Chiefs should try to target if it comes down to in the free agency. It's Isaiah Simmons that plays for the Cardinals, linebacker, safety hybrid, played at Clemson. I mean, that's kind of where the game's moving at. And those unique guys like him. I mean, Travis Kelce made him look silly, but I mean, that's going to happen. Travis Kelce makes everyone look silly. He made Jalen Ramsey fall off the TV screen when the Chiefs played him. But if you can get guys like him or better, or could Drew Tranquil come in, it's only going to help because the game has gotten a lot faster. You have to cover more things. And like Quinn said, if 7 seconds, a lot can happen. You can't cover one. So you get guys that are fast, smart, and can do a lot of different things. And at the end of the day, it's just going to help the defense perform better, get more stops, and it's going to help the offense get better field position and eventually score.
Yeah, I agree. And, we've seen that with Brady. We've seen that with Joe Burrow, where they have actually, Burrow actually beat out Brady as far as releasing the balls quicker than anybody in the NFL there for a while because, of course, getting sacked 70 times in a season is pretty rough on you. So given the fact that if you have a defensive line that's able to get in the backfield, and our offensive line that's able to protect Mahomes, now, especially now with the moves that we've made. And I have to laugh because who was it? Oh, God. Was it Boyd? Tyler Boyd said that they stole one from us.
Yeah, about
they one-upped us. They one-upped us because they got OBJ. And I actually had to
live in their head rent-free, man.
Yeah,
oh my God,
it's ridiculous.
Dude. It's like,
no Super Bowl wins, but they want to talk. They want to talk. At this point, I need them to win a Super Bowl before they can be on the same level. Yeah, you can go to a Super Bowl, but you need to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and honestly,
I think their Super Bowl window is probably once Burrow gets paid, I think that window will close.
Absolutely, and honestly, and another one of their guys said that we got lucky in the AFC Championship game last year.
Well, don't push Mahomes out of the battle. He's already out there. I need to tell you, don't let Burrow. Go ahead, Quentin.
You make your own luck. So
yeah,
exactly.
I agree. What did he say? Red said something. He also said if he didn't get hurt, they would have won. If he didn't get hurt, they would have won that game.
Okay, well, what if the Chiefs really putting a lot of 2020 didn't get hurt? I mean, we could say a lot of what ifs, but
yeah.
If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
There we go.
There it is. So I mean, it's just how it is. We had no offensive line in 2020. We were playing Girl Scouts out there. I mean, we really were. We had nobody protecting Mahomes. He was running for his life. And still, honest to God, he was making passes that nobody else could
Greatest incomplete Super Bowl history.
Absolutely. And that was Tyreek. Tyreek made a lot of those mistakes.
Oh,
So
he wasn't the only one, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean he was one of them, but yeah, there was a lot of making mistakes out there. I think they were just, there was one point, and it's sad to say this, but there was one point right around halftime that Mahomes went to the sidelines and he goes, "Look, man, we just got to go out and play because we're not winning this game." And that was the first time Mahomes ever felt defeated. And that's sad that he went over there and he said that. He said, "Look,
I'd be defeated too if I'm throwing passes and my guys are just dropping them."
He said, "If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle." Damn straight, Scott. But yeah, I mean, they could say all kinds of stuff about people being hurt. We lost what 3-4 wide receivers in the playoffs.
All
Mahomes
of them.
on one leg.
All of them. All of them.
And we still won that game.
Marcus Kemp
Kemp, yeah.
Supreme defense didn't stop him. So
exactly. So
Bengals fans just need to be quiet. Bengals. I have a little bit of respect for Bills fans because they've shown some stuff. But Bengals and Bill fans, it's like y'all need to win something before you start talking at this point.
Yeah. And the one thing about the Eagles fans, they
at least can win and they have a good organization. I respect.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, number one, you probably got a terrible owner. You don't have a good system where you guys are drafting and bringing in players, and then you guys just talk like you guys won something.
Yeah, exactly. And like Brad said, we were down to MVS, Sky Kemp, and a bag of chips, and that's exactly what we had on the field during that game. So
and Mahomes still drove them down the field and did what he had to do. So
yep,
I don't want to hear it.
Yep. And look, man, if they want to, they can complain about this, that, and the other, but we had nobody out on the field. I mean, Mahomes was throwing to guys that had more tackles than catches in his career, and still won that game. So it is what it is. Really quick, I don't know if anybody saw the highlight of Josh Allen playing a CB today. I don't know if he was out there having fun or if he was actually trying it. I don't know what that was. He got burned pretty bad. He stuck his arm up, and it was like, okay, I can't do this. I'm going to go back to throwing the football and fits. I'll throw the football and I'll throw some fits, and then I'll be good. But I thought it was kind of comical to see him out there trying to play CB at that point. What's this say? This is the same guy that said Mahomes was faking an injury. Oh, that's absolutely true.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Yep. He absolutely said that.
Wasn't one of their players who just fell all of a sudden to injury?
Fell backwards. Yeah, and I'm surprised the rest didn't let that happen. I honestly was surprised.
I think they're penalizing that now.
They should have fined him then and penalized him then, but they didn't. I mean, he was standing there, he was talking to a guy, and they told him, fall down. That was the worst acting job ever. He's never going to get a job in Hollywood after his career. I feel like he needs to
be moved up 5 yards, automatic first down at that point. Half distance to the goal.
Shit.
It's just like, I understand there's competitive advantages, but like really, you can figure something else to do to stop the clock than that.
Yeah. No.
I mean, if you look at the NBA, still had a player run into him on purpose to spill his drink on the court to get a timeout. I'm pretty sure that people in the NFL offices can figure out something. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. And yeah, we had and Brad's right. We didn't have any Snead in that game, remember?
That's the one I was saying. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we had so many injured players in that game. I mean, it was like, damn. I mean, it was scary there for a little bit because we were dropping people like flies. Mm-hmm. And for a little bit, it was like, oh, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had nobody. So,
but they prevailed. That's how to say. They did not give up.
Oh, he said he was fined. Hold on. He said he was fined, but it should have been more. Yeah, he was. Okay, cool. Wait a minute. You're right. I think it was like 50. It was a weird number, too. It was like $5,637.03 or some dumb shit. I don't know where the NFL comes up with these fines.
Yeah, numbers. And some of the number, I mean, it's all, NFLPA stuff, but some of the numbers are just like so random. It's like, could you just round that shit up, please?
Exactly. It's like they went into Cynthia Freeland's computer and said, let's decipher this.
It's like they sneezed on a keyboard and you're like, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Basically.
Weird ass numbers they come up with. He said MVS went to God mode. He did. He absolutely did. He looked really good in that game. I mean, that's why I feel like maybe he'll have a little bit more of a role this year. Or maybe, I don't know if it's so much of a role, but I think he'll have more touchdowns than he had last year. Because he only had 2, right?
Yeah, I think that for this wide receiver core, touchdowns are going to be so flexible Like, I think yards for these guys will stay stable. At least during the Patrick Mahomes era, if you've been in the offense for a few years, I think your yards will stay pretty consistent because that just determines how much you're on the field. But
Yeah.
touchdowns, I think, are just going to be so up and down depending on who you are outside of Travis Kelce, because I just feel like a lot of that is the timing of you being on the field. And outside of Travis Kelce, Kansas City doesn't have that wide receiver where it's like he's the red zone guy. It's more like whoever's open,
That's backyard football. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. It's backyard football. It's a spread offense in a backyard football situation. They know after the first 3 or 4 series, they know exactly who they can play in different spots and who's going to be on the field the most because they know who's going to get burned, who they're going to burn. They know if Tony's going to burn somebody. They know if Sky Moore's quicker than somebody else. They see it after the first 3 or 4 series. And if a defense doesn't make adjustments, is what it is. I mean, we've seen that happen over and over. And if they do make adjustments, we readjust and we move things around. So it's such a crazy thing to watch us play this game, and such a blessing to have this happen. Somebody brought it up to me the other day. He asked me, he said, I was talking to a guy today, and he says, you're a Chiefs fan, huh? And I said, yeah. He said, are you a bandwagon fan? And I said, no, there's a lot of them out there. I said, but I've been around for the long haul. And he says, oh, you're talking about since like 2008, 2009. I said, bro, since 1970. I said, I was born in 1970. I said, I've been through all the hell. So he goes, oh my God. I said, yeah. I said, the ups and downs were ups and downs, real ups and downs, not just this.
Mostly downs.
Yeah, mostly downs. It wasn't this, 2 or 3 bad seasons like we had from, really 9 to 13 or 9 to 12, but it was really bad. And he just said, wow. He said, I can't believe you lasted that long. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I would have switched teams. I said, you can't.
Loser.
He killed me. I lost all respect for him after
Loser.
that. Okay, I'm done with you now.
You get a team, you stick with the team.
Damn
Why do
right.
you think they're Browns fans?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't see the Browns have been terrible their entire existence. And
yeah, I didn't choose the Chiefs. The Chiefs chose me. And
there we go.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
Trust me,
That's
if I
exactly
could
right.
change teams, I think the one wearing blue in this city wouldn't have any left.
Yeah, I was born with a Chiefs hat on, so people can say what they want, but I popped out with a Chiefs hat on. It was an old one, but I popped out with it on. So, sure, my mom wasn't happy, but is what it is. Anyway, I don't know what else we got, guys. It's been a pretty good show.
I think we pretty much covered everything.
And topics that I got outside of those press conferences.
What's that, brother?
I said that was all of the defense I wanted to focus on. There was a ton from the defense, but that's all of my thoughts from the press conferences.
Okay. All right, really cool. Oh, Brad, I love you. You get the Taco Bell ding. Justyn Ross. Yeah, he's good. And apparently everybody loves him. And he's getting a lot of praise. A lot more praise than Quentin's giving him.
You got to earn it.
I think he is. He looks like he hasn't been injured. He's playing so well. I mean, so well. He looks so good out there. And I understand they're not playing like press and they're not doing so much, but
they're in shorts. He better look good.
Well, regardless, he runs great routes. He doesn't look like he was injured. He's fast, big guy. I don't know, man. I mean, he just looks like he's going to be one of those guys this year. I'm just telling you. He's going to be one of those rotational pieces that surprise a lot of people. And Mahomes is really high on him. I mean, he's really high on him. And for the Chiefs to sign him to a contract while he's injured, that says a whole lot to me. I mean, it really does. It says a whole lot. So I know you're a doubter when it comes to Justyn Ross, but I think he's gonna prove some people wrong this year. So, what do you say? He said, "We were born when the Chiefs were here." Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it. What was it? 2 years. What year did they move over? 1967. They came to Kansas City. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, because they were the Dallas Texans in '66. So I think it was '67 when they came over to Kansas City. 3 years before my time, but that's it's a long time to be a Chiefs fan, and that ain't going to change anytime soon. I'll go. I mean, my wife told me she would bear me with my Mahomes jersey and my hat on, so and she's probably ready to do that right now. But regardless, it is what it is. Anyway, we appreciate everybody for jumping on. Hey, by the way, this show was sponsored by Foco Sports, and we appreciate everything they do. Check out their line. Go on there, use Chiefs Focus 15. You will get 15% off whatever you order. They have some of the most amazing things on the planet. I mean, really cool bobbleheads. They're all like collectibles because they don't make very many of them. And when they're gone, they're gone. So when you guys see them, jump on them. Right now, they are doing a commemorative Len Dawson, Patrick Mahomes bobblehead. They've got the Juju Smith, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce bobblehead that says Super Bowl on the bottom. They're all ceramic. They're really cool, all handmade. Not everyone, none of them are exact. They're just really cool. I would pull one off the shelf, but I'd probably yank my computer down doing it. You can see one in Kayla's background right now. Actually, that is the Patrick Mahomes bobblehead. Really cool. All ceramic, just neat as hell. So, and they are collectible. They don't make very many of them. They also have a clothing line. They have a lot of different things. They come up and do stuff every day. They have baseball. Everything's licensed by the NFL. So make sure you go on and check it out. And with that being said, we will talk to you guys on Tuesday. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our special guest is actually going to be on this week. He got tied up last week, and he's going to come on this week. He was on vacation. So we will have him on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. Former Chiefs player. Got some questions for him. So make sure everybody joins in. Peace out, everybody.